Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's July 25th, 2021, and we're starting outside the western garden plot here. I thought first let's take another look at the gooseberry plants and see they've been doing quite a bit of growth. As time has gone on, I got a few more weeds, and I still haven't put more mulch down in here, or I have been coming by and pulling some of the weeds. But yes, so far things have been working pretty well. And one of the things I gotta say, one of the things we notice is having fencing, whether it's fencing like this or the trellis like this, or in the central garden with the paracord going around the fencing, it gives the kingbirds and other insectivores places to perch, so that they really are taking care of all of our pests that are coming in, like for instance the cabbage moths. When Thea's been harvesting the broccoli over there, one of the things that she's commented on is there's very few, oh, there's a hummingbird right in front of us here. Oh. So the hummingbirds love the scarlet red runner beans, but what I was saying was that there's hardly any of the caterpillars from the cabbage moths on our broccoli. She harvests, every time she harvests, she says, geez, there might be one or two caterpillars on it, and I really think it's because of the number of birds that are just constantly swooping down here and taking care of the pests in the garden. You can see the weed mats are covered with weeds. I started doing some weeding coming down this with the honeyberries. The honeyberries have been doing great. I still have more weeding to finish down there, but the honeyberries are doing great. The gooseberries are doing great. The blueberries, they've been very productive. Thea's been getting lots of blueberries from them. I haven't really had any time to do any cleanup work over here, and this is one of the areas I still haven't gotten back to doing weeding around here, so hopefully tomorrow I'll get out here and do some more weeding. Cauliflower isn't ready yet. They're just starting to form heads now. The scarlet red runner beans have been doing great. There still have to be more of them hung back up because they find their way down in the ground, but pretty happy with how well they're doing. The hummingbirds, they're down there right now, 2 hummingbirds. I just love seeing them with the scarlet red runner beans. The broccoli, been harvesting those continuously. The red currants, gosh, these plants have been doing fantastic. Blueberries been doing good. I already mentioned that the lupine, it's time to harvest some of the seed from there and get them into other areas in the food forest, so we have more nitrogen fixing plants out in the food forest. And it looks like we're going to have to harvest more broccoli again tomorrow, and some more blueberries as well. So blueberry plants, honeyberries, and gooseberries, and the red currants, gosh, these buggers are just doing fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And there are some more weeds in and amongst them here. Again, just set those right out there on the weed mat. Let them get dried right out. Oh my goodness. Some of these boogers I let get too big. Sorry. This one got too big, unfortunately. Well, I won't get the whole plant out this time. But leave them on the weed mat. Not enough sun today to really fry them, but tomorrow they get fried as long as we don't get too much sun. So really happy with everything that's going on here in the western garden plot. It's been very productive with the broccoli, and certainly productive with the blueberries. I didn't get that many honeyberries out of the bunch there so far. This year it's been mostly on focus on propagating more of those honeyberries, and they are delicious. So let's go over to the central garden plot. I've been fueling up. I fueled up Hound with this tank, and I filled up Pepe, the four-wheeler, the UTV. And boy, I've got to say, it's such a blessing not having to use the 5-gallon tanks and all. Such a blessing. I did come down through with the weed whacker and hacked off a lot of the comfrey that was hanging over, so that's hanging there. So at the end of the season, that'll all get brushed back over to help build more soil. Tomato plants have been doing absolutely fantastic. There are some red tomatoes in there, but this is the time that we start pruning the lower parts of the tomato plants to make those the tomatoes get a little more sunlight and a little more air. And you can see the benefit of having these tomato plants being much wider than the standard 30-inch beds, so that we can make our way down in here. If some of these limbs get too big, we just weave them back into the center and let them produce tomatoes like crazy and all. So the San Marzano tomatoes, absolutely fantastic. Really happy with how well they're doing. Then the banana peppers, these guys have all been doing well. All of them are getting small little peppers on them now. It'll probably be a couple weeks for a lot of these larger ones before they start turning red. I absolutely love them. The broccoli just hasn't been ready. We can see just the heads starting to form now on this. So I guess we've got one more week. I thought we'd have some this week, but it looks like next week is when we'll be getting start harvesting some of the broccoli. These lines, these paracord, and even on this, because this is not electrified, the birds perch on these and you watch them. It's amazing just how many of them, either it's the trellis, the tomato cages, the birds come down here, somehow they spot every caterpillar, they keep a close eye on it, and they dive in and they get them, and off to the nest they go. So that's really worked out. Cauliflower is still a little bit too early for this row of cauliflower. Red onions are looking pretty good. They're all coming along nicely. Pretty happy with them. 2 rows of the red onions here. And our blue potatoes, I only hilled all of these potatoes up just one time, and so they're doing pretty well. I don't see much weed competition. I haven't done any weeding in this bed. I did come through and the purslane did take off on here once we threw the weeds from the other garden in here, from the eastern garden plot. So I came in with the stirrup hoe the other day and hit these guys. We did have some rain last night, like 0.17 of an inch, 0.17 inches of rain. So that was nice. We'll head over to the eastern garden plot. I have lost some more limbs from our peach trees out back in the first food forest. So I lost 2 more limbs. We had a nice windstorm, and of course with all the fruit on it, and then what happens is the deer reach up, grab a hold of it, they get up on their hind limbs, grab a hold of a limb that's laden with all the fruit on it, and down comes the limb. So that broke my heart. Having places for the birds to perch and get advantageous spots for them to be able to come in and identify those caterpillars really is very, very helpful. So these guys have got to be hung back up. Thea's going to be taking another vacation next week, so she'll work on this. I'm sort of overloaded with some of the projects I've been working on out back, doing a lot of log splitting right now. The carrots, the ones that weren't disturbed are taking off like crazy. These still have to be thinned some. The ones that were transplanted, so this is the size that these all were when Theo came over and transplanted these almost 2 weeks ago, I think now. So, and here are the red onions. They've been doing just great. Let's see. Here we've got red kidney beans along in here. They're coming along pretty nice as well. Pretty nice beans. Some of them didn't make it, and I don't know who's coming in and getting at these guys. This one got pulled up some, it looks like, and chewed off. Some of the roots got chewed off. So that could be a vole in here. But we have toads in here, and the toads have been able to keep these guys right under control. The rosemary, which I forget the name of at times, is doing pretty well. A little quackgrass there. Put that out in the sun over there. The red Russian kale is doing well. The banana peppers aren't getting quite as much sun as they're getting over there. Here's more of the banana peppers. They get more shade at this end, more sun at that end. Here are the russet potatoes in this bed. The flowers popping out now. Only held these up once, and I think that was about 2 weeks ago. And again, this season, we weren't able to harvest any or even taste any of the hardy kiwis. The birds get to these so quickly. It's just amazing. So, banana peppers, red Russian kale, beans, rosemary, lemon balm, honey locust. I'm going to have to transplant this guy this fall. Scarlet red runner beans. Some more volunteer lemon balm. I love the smell of this. I love the smell of spearmint as well. So, scarlet red runner beans all along in here. They have to be hung up there as well. I've got some weeds in here. Either they're sitting at, just got small little cracks in between the tarp back there. Bit of a hassle. Feel frustrated when you don't make the time or don't have the time to do some of the things you'd like to do. The flowers are beautiful, bringing in beneficial insects, giving us beautiful nutrients and beautiful seeds as well. So that's really lovely. Around the corner here, more of the spearmint. Thea doesn't want me to whack any more of this because I've been mowing down our spearmint bed over here. Just too much spearmint, and I've got it up in the second food forest as well. Then neither of us had the time to get over here to do the weeding the way we should do. So I've got some quackgrass in here. Can hardly even see. So here's one of the high bush cranberry bushes here. This was, I just snapped it unfortunately, and it'll still come back. This is one of the Hosta berry plants. It's just starting to get, so this is semi-hardwood down here, so we could propagate from this as well. But so Hosta berries, a couple of rows of Hosta berries in here, and there are right on the outside here, not too many made it, but we've got some high bush cranberry bushes in here. On the other side we have some of the Illinois mulberry trees, so they're coming along. There's so much, so the Japanese beetles are here now, and I'll just, can I squeeze over in here without damaging any other plants? So these are the Japanese beetles all over the Pennsylvania smartweed. They're just about ignoring the rest of the plants in here. So when I weed over here this week, it's really nice if I'm very careful not to take out all of Pennsylvania smartweed, because that's where they all congregate and they just love eating all of that down. And there are a couple of still, that's an Illinois mulberry right there. There's another one right there, it's harder to see. And some of these grasses there. And here's another high bush cranberry bush right around some of these buggers here. I'll tell you, these grasses are so tenacious. And I won't spend time now while I'm shooting this video to get all these buggers out. But some of these grasses are just tougher than nails. And of course the thistle's going to seed there as well. So, strawberries, they're holding on, the ones that did survive without the water here. boy, what a terrible loss that we had, and that was for me not monitoring my my timers for my drip irrigation. So all the ones I had as extras in here, there's only 2 in here, 2 or 3 that look like they survived. Over here we have the black currants. They're doing pretty well. Thea did come in here and weed not too long ago, and just before I burn up the feeding system for the new weed whacker, and I'll make a video about that at some point. Just bought a new weed whacker, a battery operated weed whacker, Ego, and unfortunately the feeding system, the weed whacker works great except for the automated feeding system. The motor started smoking on that, so I'm trying to get a replacement for that. The sage doing well, all going to seed now. The lavender has been great this season. Lots and lots of beautiful sage. There's thyme over in here. Now our whole front herb garden is just loaded with the thyme. More lavender. Beautiful smells. The aroma around here is just fantastic. And those 3 citrus are coming back. I'll have to prune them down some as well. Oh, the sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes have been doing very well over here. The deer haven't been back since. I've got to get the vines back up on here. The Japanese beetles have hit a couple of the leaves in here, but not a lot. And the thing was, I pulled out some of the Pennsylvania smartweed that was here, and that was a mistake because as soon as I pulled that out, they went to this. I figured they'd just go over there. But you really want to have some of that Pennsylvania smartweed nearby where the desirable plants are, because they'll concentrate right on the Pennsylvania smartweed and tend to spare most of your produce from them munching on them. So that is our garden update for July 25th, 2021. Pretty happy since I haven't spent much time in the gardens, just doing small amounts of weeding that I talked about and doing some harvesting. Thea's been doing the bulk of the harvesting in the gardens. I've been working on other projects trying to get caught up around here. So that's it for today's video. If you have any comments or questions, or let us know how things are going with your gardens. I'm always excited to hear about what your thoughts are with your gardens. And when Thea's on vacation after this coming week, the week after next, I'll see if I can get her to sit down with me, and because we had questions about how do we process a lot of the food that we're growing all the time, because it's so much that we grow. It seems like so much more than what normal people would be processing, because it's an awful lot. So hopefully Thea and I will sit down and share our thoughts and all. Someday we'll try and do like I guess they're called live streams, where people can ask questions at the same time about our processing techniques, because that stimulates us to think of things that we aren't necessarily spontaneously thinking about, unless we come out here and make a list of this is what we do with each plant here. I have been working, I harvested the garlic, and I'll try and make a video on the garlic from the time that we start it in the ground to the time that we how we harvest it, how we cure it, and how we store it, and how we actually process that, so that like we make our own garlic powder as well, so that can last a very long time. And then we we'll go through all those processes as well. So if you found this video of value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and by all means, folks, stay safe and do some gardening. It's good for you. Take a good walk in the woods too. I think that's awesome. Thanks so much for watching, and take care. Bye-bye now.